Did you know that a man who never remembered what he predicted managed to foresee with precision the First and Second World Wars, the deaths of US presidents, and the fall of the Soviet Union? His name was Edgar Cayce, and before his death in 1945, he left behind more than 14,000 psychic readings that have taken the entire world's breath away. But there is something many people don't know. Among all those prophecies, there is one that points specifically to the year 2026 as a moment of radical transformation for humanity. What is coming could change everything we know. Stay until the end of this video, because what I'm going to reveal to you about 2026 will make you question everything. Edgar Cayce was born on March 18, 1877, on a small farm in Kentucky, United States. From a very early age, this boy showed abilities that defied all logic. At the age of 5, after receiving a strong blow to the head with a baseball, he was declared dead in the hospital. But minutes later, he woke up completely healthy, as if nothing had happened. At 6, he began telling his parents that he had supernatural visions and could see beings that others could not perceive. The most surprising thing about Cayce was his method. Unlike other seers who claimed to receive visions while fully conscious, Edgar would enter a deep state of hypnotic trance. In this altered state of consciousness, his mind seemed to connect to a source of universal knowledge that he himself described as the Akashic Records, a kind of cosmic library where all the information about humanity's past, present, and future is stored. During these trances, Cayce would answer questions on the most diverse subjects. At first, his readings focused mainly on people's physical health. He diagnosed illnesses with astonishing precision and recommended treatments that, in many cases, saved lives when conventional medicine had failed. But over time, his readings began to cover much deeper topics: reincarnation, lost civilizations, future events, and the destiny of humanity. The extraordinary thing is that Cayce never remembered what he said during his trances. Every word, every prediction had to be transcribed by an assistant while he remained in that altered state of consciousness. He founded the Association for Research and Enlightenment, known as ARE for its initials in English, which to this day preserves all his readings and continues to study his prophecies. But what exactly did he predict for 2026? Before we delve into that, it's essential to understand why his predictions have gained so much credibility over the decades. Edgar Cayce accurately anticipated the Great Depression of 1929, a devastating economic collapse that shook the foundations of the global financial system. He also predicted the beginning of the Second World War, stating that the United States would enter the conflict in 1941 and that 1945 would be the year of the Allied victory. Both predictions were fulfilled to the letter. In 1939, Cayce made a chilling prophecy. 2 U.S. presidents would die in office. Franklin Delano Roosevelt died in April 1945 while serving his 4th presidential term. Almost 2 decades later, in November 1963, John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, thus fulfilling the second part of the prophecy. But his accurate hits do not end there. He predicted the fall of the Soviet Union decades before it happened. At a time when the communist regime seemed indestructible, he spoke of a great spiritual transformation that would take place in Russia and would offer hope to humanity. He also anticipated the rise of China as a world power and claimed that it would eventually become the cradle of a new form of spirituality applied to everyday life. Now then, we come to the crucial point. What did Edgar Cayce say about 2026? His prophecies for this year focused on several key aspects that, if fulfilled, would radically transform our world as we know it. The first of these aspects has to do with massive geological changes on planet Earth. According to Cayce's readings, significant geological transformations would occur between 2020 and 2030. The year 2026 would be marked by intense seismic and volcanic activity. Regions of the Pacific Ring of Fire, where most of the world's earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur, would experience events of considerable magnitude. Cayce specifically mentioned the awakening of volcanoes, such as Vesuvius and Etna in Italy, as well as severe seismic activity on the west coast of North America. Now, it is important to clarify that modern science recognizes that the Earth goes through natural cycles of seismic and volcanic activity. Geologists have confirmed that there is indeed constant monitoring of these risk zones and that the possibility of significant events in the coming years is real. However, there is no concrete evidence that catastrophes on the massive scale suggested by some interpretations of Cayce's prophecies will occur. What we do know is that the planet is undergoing accelerated climate change and that geological activity could intensify as a consequence of multiple factors. The second aspect of Cayce's prophecies for 2026 has to do with a massive spiritual awakening of humanity. According to his readings, this period would mark the beginning of a new era of consciousness. Humanity would begin to experience a significant increase in intuition and extrasensory perception abilities. People would start to understand more deeply their connection with the universe and with one another. This awakening would not be a sudden event, but a gradual process that would speed up precisely around 2026. Cayce predicted that there would be a growing interest in spiritual practices such as meditation, energy healing, and the development of consciousness. He also anticipated important scientific advances in understanding the human mind and the very nature of consciousness. It is fascinating to observe that in recent years we have indeed seen a massive resurgence of interest in spirituality, mindfulness, meditation, and alternative therapies. Science is also beginning to seriously study phenomena that were once considered exclusively mystical, such as neuroplasticity, the influence of meditation on the brain, and the interconnectedness of all living beings. Could it be that Cayce's prediction about this spiritual awakening is already beginning to manifest? The third element of the prophecies for 2026 is perhaps one of the most intriguing: the possible rediscovery of Atlantis. Edgar Cayce spoke extensively about this legendary lost civilization in more than 700 of his readings. According to him, Atlantis was a technologically advanced civilization that existed thousands of years ago and was destroyed by natural cataclysms. Cayce claimed that parts of this submerged civilization would begin to reappear around 2026 due to geological changes on the ocean floor. Specifically, he mentioned that new archaeological evidence could emerge from the depths, revealing structures and technologies that would change our understanding of human history. In recent years, there have been reports of mysterious underwater structures near Cuba, in the Mediterranean Sea, and off the coasts of Japan. Although none of these discoveries have been definitively confirmed as evidence of Atlantis, they have generated intense debate in the scientific and archaeological communities. Is it possible that in 2026 we will finally have concrete proof of this lost civilization? If Cayce's predictions are correct, that year could be historic for world archaeology. The fourth aspect of the prophecies concerns the discovery of a new, revolutionary form of energy. Cayce predicted that around 2026 humanity would discover or develop a completely new source of energy. This energy would be powerful, but not destructive, would come from natural sources, and would possibly be related to the Earth's magnetism or processes similar to nuclear fusion. According to his readings, this new energy would completely transform the global economy and drastically reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. It is remarkable to observe that there are currently advanced scientific projects working precisely in these areas. The ITER experimental nuclear fusion reactor in France is scheduled to begin its test operations precisely in the 2020s. Scientists are also exploring innovative ways of harnessing the Earth's magnetism and quantum energy. If these projects achieve significant breakthroughs in 2026, Cayce's prophecy about a new energy era could be fulfilled in a spectacular way. The fifth prophetic element is related to extraterrestrial contact, or at least the official scientific acknowledgement of life beyond Earth. Cayce mentioned that humanity would eventually recognize that it is not alone in the universe, and that this recognition would begin to take shape around 2026. He predicted that science would begin openly to accept the existence of intelligent forms of life on other planets or in other dimensions. In recent years, we have witnessed extraordinary developments in this field. Governments of several countries, including the United States, have declassified files on unidentified flying objects. The Pentagon has officially acknowledged the existence of aerial phenomena that defy our current understanding of physics. Space telescopes, such as the James Webb, are discovering potentially habitable planets at an unprecedented rate. Will 2026 be the year in which we finally receive scientific confirmation of extraterrestrial life? The possibility is more real than ever. The fourth aspect of the prophecies concerns the discovery of a new, revolutionary form of energy. Cayce predicted that around 2026 humanity would discover or develop a completely new source of energy. This energy would be powerful, but not destructive, would come from natural sources, and would possibly be related to the Earth's magnetism or processes similar to nuclear fusion. According to his readings, this new energy would completely transform the global economy and drastically reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. It is remarkable to observe that there are currently advanced scientific projects working precisely in these areas. The ITER experimental nuclear fusion reactor in France is scheduled to begin its test operations precisely in the 2020s. Scientists are also exploring innovative ways of harnessing the Earth's magnetism and quantum energy. If these projects achieve significant breakthroughs in 2026, Cayce's prophecy about a new energy era could be fulfilled in a spectacular way. The fifth prophetic element is related to extraterrestrial contact, or at least the official scientific acknowledgement of life beyond Earth. Cayce mentioned that humanity would eventually recognize that it is not alone in the universe, and that this recognition would begin to take shape around 2026. He predicted that science would begin openly to accept the existence of intelligent forms of life on other planets or in other dimensions. In recent years, we have witnessed extraordinary developments in this field. Governments of several countries, including the United States, have declassified files on unidentified flying objects. The Pentagon has officially acknowledged the existence of aerial phenomena that defy our current understanding of physics. Space telescopes, such as the James Webb, are discovering potentially habitable planets at an unprecedented rate. Will 2026 be the year in which we finally receive scientific confirmation of extraterrestrial life? The possibility is more real than ever. Cayce also spoke about the opening of the Hall of Records, a secret chamber that supposedly exists beneath the Sphinx of Egypt. According to his readings, this chamber contains complete records of Atlantean civilization and of humanity's ancient knowledge. He predicted that this chamber would be discovered when humanity was ready to receive that knowledge, and that this moment could come precisely in the 2020s. The opening of this chamber would mark a turning point in our understanding of human history and our place in the cosmos. It is important to mention that there have been numerous archaeological explorations on the Giza Plateau, and although hidden cavities and tunnels have been discovered using advanced scanning technology, none has yet revealed the legendary Hall of Records. However, technological advances in archaeology are making it possible to explore areas that were previously inaccessible. Could 2026 be the year of the great discovery? Now then, we must approach all of this with a balanced mind. Edgar Cayce was undoubtedly an extraordinary figure whose predictions have shown remarkable accuracy in many cases. However, it is also true that some of his prophecies have not been fulfilled or have been interpreted in very different ways. For example, he predicted drastic geological changes that would include the sinking of parts of California and New York, events that so far have not occurred on the scale he suggested. The scientific community maintains a healthy stance of skepticism regarding prophecies in general. Geologists acknowledge that there is constant seismic activity and that significant events are possible at any time. But they cannot confirm specific predictions based on psychic visions. The same is true of predictions about Atlantis or the Hall of Records. They are fascinating, but they require solid scientific evidence to be accepted. What makes Cayce's prophecies particularly intriguing is that many of them speak of trends and gradual transformations rather than specific events. The spiritual awakening he predicted, for example, can be interpreted in multiple ways. Are we seeing this awakening in the growing interest in mental health, meditation, and holistic practices, in the global movement for sustainability and ecological awareness, in the questioning of obsolete economic and social systems? Perhaps Cayce's true legacy does not lie in specific predictions of dates and events, but in reminding us that humanity is in constant evolution and that great transformations are possible when we work consciously toward them. 2026 is getting closer and closer. Whether you fully believe in Edgar Cayce's prophecies, view them with skepticism, or simply feel curious, it is undeniable that we are living in a time of extraordinary change. Climate change, exponential technological advances, social and political transformations, the awakening of environmental and spiritual awareness. All of this is happening simultaneously at an unprecedented speed. Perhaps the most important thing is not whether Cayce's specific prophecies for 2026 will be fulfilled exactly as he described, but to recognize that we are at a crucial moment in human history. The decisions we make now, individually and collectively, will determine the future we create. Edgar Cayce always emphasized that the future is not written in stone, but is shaped by our actions, thoughts, and choices in the present. In his own words, repeated in numerous readings, spirit is the life, mind is the builder, the physical is the result. This means that regardless of what 2026 may bring, we have the power to influence our collective destiny. If we want to see a spiritual awakening, we must cultivate consciousness in our daily lives. If we desire scientific advances that benefit humanity, we must support ethical and responsible research. If we hope for positive transformations on our planet, we must act with environmental and social responsibility. The year 2026 will soon cease to be a prophecy about the future and become our present. Whatever this year may bring, natural catastrophes, revolutionary scientific discoveries, a massive spiritual awakening, or simply the continuation of our gradual evolution as a species, one thing is certain: we are living in extraordinary times. Edgar Cayce's legacy invites us to keep our eyes open, our minds receptive, and our hearts prepared for the transformations that are to come. So, what do you think? Do you think Edgar Cayce's prophecies for 2026 will come true? Are we on the verge of an unprecedented planetary transformation, or will we simply continue our natural evolution as humanity? I would love to know your opinion in the comments. If you found this video interesting and want to keep exploring the mysteries and prophecies surrounding our future, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Share this video with your friends and family who may be interested in learning more about Edgar Cayce and his predictions. Remember that knowledge is more powerful when it is shared. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating journey through the prophecies of Edgar Cayce. See you in the next video, where we will continue exploring the mysteries the universe has in store for us.